I'm very excited because joining me right now is Leanne from Little Mix.
They've sold over 45 million records worldwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the most successful girl bands in the whole wide world.
Nearly 10 years ago, my pop star dream became a reality. And since that moment, I've not stopped. I love it. I'm so grateful for this crazy roller coaster life. But sometimes, I felt I was being treated differently to my bandmates because of the colour of my skin.
For so many years, people always look at us as less.
Down, no matter what you're going through.
It's something I wanted to speak about for a long time, but I didn't think anyone was listening.
Why do I feel like invisible? And for so long, people would say to me, it's in your head. We have been in a bubble, I think. Now that's kind of like burst.
I want to find out what I can do to fight the racism and prejudice I see around me.
It is always predominantly white, always.
To understand how the world discriminates against dark-skinned black women.
If I was some shades darker, would I be sat here right now?
And look at how my industry treats other black artists.
They told me and said, we've got one black person, we can't have another.
Taking the fight right to the top of the music business.
I don't want it to just be a conversation. I don't want it to just be a black square.
Some people aren't ready to this conversation.
There's a problem, let's address it. Let's all address it together.
This is what we have to go through.
So today we are shooting for the new album.
I love fashion, I love clothes. The girls always say that this life was made for me. They think I'm bougie, but I'm really not.
Oh, I've got bastard that everybody.
To be fair, I've always wanted that pop star life.
What did you do with your tongue? Just stuck it out? I'm not very cool with your tongue.
You're really good with your tongue. I always see you stick it.
When we first got together, us girls, we were like best friends instantly.
Leanne, what are we doing today?
We are here shooting for our brand new campaign.
We have so much fun, and just like the magic when we sing together is something else.
From the sky drop like confetti. All eyes on me, so VIP. All of my dreams from the sky drop like confetti.
As a child, the only time I ever experienced racism was one time at primary school. A boy handed me a note that just said, name Leanne, age 9, from the jungle. I was devastated. I'd never been made to feel like I didn't belong before. It turned out I wouldn't be made to feel like that again until my life changed overnight a decade later.
That's the sound of 10,000 people celebrating a historic win for Little Mix, the first girl band to win the X Factor.
It's just insane. Oh my God, we're so happy. Winning X Factor and becoming a pop star was everything I ever wanted. But before we'd even signed the record deal, things started to happen that now feel a bit off. On the X Factor, when they dyed my hair red and shaved it, made me look like the Rihanna. I was 20 at the time, and I guess a bit naive. Looking back, it's clear my colour was being used to define my image within the group. Those things, when I think back to it, and I'm just like, wow. Then there was other stuff that started to happen, which made me feel different to the other girls. We did a radio tour. We got off the plane, and there were some fans standing waiting for us, and I was the first to kind of walk up to them, and they just walked past me. I went to the other girls. Like, it was so weird. It was never like someone racially abusing me.
Because we have 3 mega fans.
It's just like little things that happen regularly.
So, right, first, which member of Little Mix are you most like?
I'm more like Perry. Jade. I'd say Jessie, because she's got a really cool, like, an edgy style.
It's fine.
Cool. Okay.
All of these little feelings, if you can imagine, they just built up. And it was something that I could never fully explain. And you can't pretend like it's not happening. Feeling invisible, feeling like people would just look past me. For the next decade, I was in a pop bubble with all the success I'd ever dreamt of. It's been back-to-back albums, tours, awards, and video shoots.
What is life? Mermaid coming through! Oh my god, this is insane! Oh, I feel like a queen!
I'm in the biggest girl band in the world. I have a fiance. We have a lovely house. It's like, what have you got to be upset about? But all of that stuff doesn't matter. And all that matters is that feeling, and that feeling that just doesn't go away. Like, it keeps hurting and hurting. And wondering, is it my colour? Like, all these questions. Pushing myself constantly to do better, because I just wanted to be on that same level. And it's like, nothing I did would get me there. In March 2020, we flew to Brazil to do a show.
Where are we, Claude?
São Paulo.
So we landed, and from that moment it was Leigh. The crowd going mad for me, and I was like, what? Like, I've never seen or heard anything like it. There was so many black people in our audience, and I have never felt that love. I have never felt so accepted. After that, I saw that maybe race did have a part to play in how I was feeling. Now I've got so many questions I was too scared to ask before.
I think I drink too much. No, I think too much.
The pandemic has forced us to cancel our tour dates, so I've now got the time I need to start really looking at my identity and the world around me. My parents are my rock, and over the years, they're the only people I felt I could talk to about how I was feeling.
Hello! You're right.
Lovely to see you.
You too.
Oh,
hello.
How you doing, all right?
Good. Nice shirt.
Thank you.
And let's heat those up again.
I haven't seen any of these pictures.
Really?
My mum is half Bayesian and my dad's half Jamaican. Both their dads arrived here in the 60s, and as a family, we're really proud of our Caribbean heritage.
Come on, Grandad. Bless him.
They would have got stick, both of our dads, for being with white women.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have gone down well at all.
So you're both mixed race. I mean, did you say you identify as black?
I'm black as far as I'm concerned. Okay. We grew up in a black culture, so therefore we listen to black music, we cook West Indian food. That was a culture at home. It was a West Indian house.
This is my thing. So, like, when people say things like, oh, but you're mixed race, when it's like, but I always said that I do identify as black. Like, I don't really bother saying mixed race.
Because even if you're mixed race, you're not white, you will suffer from racism. So,
I mean, you do identify as black?
yeah, but you don't like to be
I
identified.
like to identify myself as John Pinnock. Because that's who I am.
That's what you've done growing up as well. Like, you haven't let your colour define you.
Yes.
You never let us think that anything was going to hold us back.
No.
Yes, we knew there was racism. We knew that we were living amongst racist people. But it was almost as if, well, there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to get on.
So when I came to you guys crying, upset, because I felt lost, invisible,
What was your initial thought? Like,
At the time, I thought to myself, Leanne, toughen up, get yourself together. You're in a good position. Get on with it. Don't moan about it. But now I realise life is not having loads of money or this and that. If you're not feeling right within yourself, you're not going to feel right, are you?
yeah. You would all say that to me. You would be like, look where you are. You're still earning the same money. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But oh God, I'm going to get upset.
Oh, don't cry, Leanne.
Come on, let it out.
Come on, yeah. Oh, come on.
I was carrying a lot, like, never ever feeling good enough. And I feel like it ruined a lot of my experience, which should have been the best time of my life.
Yeah.
It's just fucking frustrating.
I know. It is frustrating. It was hard, but it's hard for us to make you realise it's not because you know that you're not as good as them, because you are, which is sad, really. But
yeah, but this is
we
what our
accepted
parents
it.
would have said. You know, oh, just get on with it. Stop being silly. So we're doing the same thing, but I can see.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But what's difficult would be what could we have said to have made you feel better?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think when we figured out what it was, that probably just made me feel worse, because I was like, oh, great, now what? Like, what do I do now? Well, I can't hide the fact that I'm black, like, and my situation is minuscule compared to what is actually going on in this world, like, to black people.
But you can use your voice and your experiences to help other people and to let other people know that, you know, things are going to change.
Yeah. Right. See you guys.
Yeah.
Right, bye. All right, love you. Bye.
In the US, there's been violence between police and protesters in Minneapolis following the death of George Floyd, a black man who was filmed lying in the street, struggling to breathe, with a police officer's knee on his neck.
Oh, Jesus.
Cell phone video of the arrest shows him handcuffed and pleading for air.
Being a black person and watching that and knowing, like, that could be my son, my daughter, it's like a rage inside. I feel like I am in quite a unique position. Being a black girl in the pop industry with a predominantly white fan base, I do feel like I have a responsibility to speak out. I can use my voice to try and do something.
Hi everyone. Firstly, I just want to send my condolences to George Floyd's family and all the other families that have lost someone due to police brutality and racism. There comes a point in every black human's life, no matter how much money you have or what you have achieved, you realise racism does not exclude you. You learn to understand you can't be seen to be too loud or too opinionated, otherwise you're deemed a diva or aggressive. Our reality is no matter how far you think you have come, racism exists. It exists in sports, in the creative industries, in politics and policies, in the streets and in the hearts of racist individuals. We are no longer in a position where we need to be quiet on this matter. Thank you.
Now's the time to speak up properly about it and not really hold back. But if you read enough comments, you see people say that you should just shut up about it, you know what I mean? And be happy with how far you've come. Like, your country or the world can't be racist because where you are now, so she knows that she's going to get backlash off this and whatever, because that's just the world we live in.
Something like this, speaking about race, I get scared. Am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to offend someone? But it's like, yeah, I probably will say the wrong thing. Like, I'm human. I'm still on this journey. I'm still learning myself. Like, but I'd rather say something, say it maybe not entirely right, than say nothing. It doesn't matter if you're a pop star or a professional footballer like Andre.
Hello!
The world is waking up and we're determined to be a part of it.
I've never been to a protest before. I'm not putting the bandana on. I'm not. Andre wants me to match him. Oh, shit. You'd think we was already married, wouldn't you? Yeah. Jesus.
I reckon there's probably...
Oh, thousands. Yeah.
Nobody has really wanted to speak about race in the pop bubble I've been living in.
That's her. Okay.
I want to hear what others think I can do to actively help this fight.
So you girls know that I'm in Little Mix. How do you think I need to use my platform?
You have to come and support. You need to be on the streets.
Yeah.
You need to be doing everything that you can. This isn't just about you.
Yeah.
Education is key.
Yeah.
You need to find that information.
Yeah.
Don't wait for it to come to you. You use the tools you have,
Yeah.
the people around you,
Yeah.
to read what you need to read, to watch what you need to watch,
Yeah.
listen out what you need to listen to.
Yeah, address colorism. There's racism, but colorism is a big thing as well.
But you can't share anything that you don't understand.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
it's really
yeah.
important that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
self-educate. There are areas in England that don't have this many black people. And I'm sure there's a mixed race girl in that town who's looking at you thinking, you know what, I want to know my history.
Yeah.
I want to know what she's, do you know what I mean? So just keep doing what you're doing because it means the most.
Why you sat round upset looking all lazy? I've been there too, but I never let it faze me.
What the girls on the march said really struck me. If I'm going to speak up on this, I need to educate myself.
If your name sounds British rather than African or Asian, you're more likely to get the job interview. It's as simple as that.
Just because I'm black, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on different types of racism or knowing what the solutions are.
Unconscious bias are unintentional, deeply ingrained, and we all have them.
The internet's been flooded with people educating each other and explaining different terminology.
That's why you have institutional racism.
You look like you're studying for an exam.
This is just really new for me. Since I got put into the group, I feel like I've been in, not a cage for 9 years, but I haven't, as much as I've felt my experiences, I haven't actually explored any of this. Like, all I really know is my own experiences. So very proud of Leanne, and I know how much this hurt you then.
I cannot believe the response since posting my Insta video.
I feel you so much, here for you always.
One blast from the past who got in touch was the choreographer for our first Little Mix video. Frank Gatson, who was Beyoncé's creative director, left a comment that's really touched me.
We were just in rehearsals and it was quite a militant way of working.
Nobody needs to help you but your
We were all so nervous.
You understand?
And he just turned to me and he just said, "You're the black girl, you're gonna have to work 10 times harder."
I didn't really understand it at the time, but that comment 9 years ago has really stuck with me.
So I'm really intrigued to speak to Frank. Hi. I want to know what made him say that to me. You haven't changed a bit. You look younger. I saw the comment that you left on my Instagram as well. Like, thank you for reaching out. I just want to know why you felt like you had to say I would have to work harder because I'm the black girl. What was you kind of thinking at the time? Like, why did you think it was so important to tell me like that?
I just saw myself. I saw the little brown girl sitting over there, you know, really nervous. Like, it's a white world, you know, and I got to make her know the secret. We got to be the best. We got to walk right. We got to sing right. We got to work right. We got to, you know, the choreography better. We got to do everything to be the best that we can be. Because for so many years, people always look at us as less. And so therefore, here comes your big brother, your daddy, your uncle, whatever you want to call me. Let me go over here and hold her hand through this, and let me give her my speech that I gave Ashley Everett of, you know, the speech that I gave in Vogue. You know, you understand? We have to be the best that we can be. You know, because we're representing our race. Leanne, you know, I'm just curious. When I said what I said to you, what did you think at that moment, really?
If I'm completely honest,
Please?
I thought it was a little bit rude because I didn't understand it, and I think I nervously laughed, like, huh? It's just crazy how it was so alien.
Yeah.
Because I've never ever been told that. Like my parents never ever said to me, "You're gonna need to work harder." Like they never ever brought my race into it. I found out for myself because I wasn't prepared for what was gonna happen after you said that.
Today I'm back in the studio to record my parts for our 6th album.
Okie dokie. Right, do you want to do the harmonies first?
I just want to make sure we got all the leads first.
Yeah. Trust me, my love won't let you down.
Yo! Love that last line. That was so good, Leigh.
Since posting my Insta video, loads of different people have been getting in touch.
Keisha from the Sugar Babes sent me a voice note.
Hey sis, I just want to say I'm super, super proud of you. You're an inspiration for your fans. You're an inspiration for me also.
I'm getting messages from others in the music industry every day, especially from fellow black women.
I want people to see me for me and then make a judgment on that and not...
Many of them have been speaking out as well. I want to hear their experiences face to face to help decide how I can use my platform in this fight. As well as Keisha from the Sugar Babes, I've invited Alexandra Burke, who also made an Insta video.
And I got told, right, you can't have braids, you can't have an afro, you can't have anything that basically is my identity.
R&B soul artist Neo.
I hadn't really seen someone that looked like me.
And singer-songwriter Ray, whose video of a black friend being refused entry to a restaurant went viral.
You let my white friend in, and you don't let my black friend in. It's racist.
I just want to start by saying thank you so much for being here and hopefully being open and honest, talking about your experiences. Like, it's just amazing that we can all get into this room and I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness just saying. But yeah, thank you for being here. I've been in my group for like 9 years and for so long I thought, people would say to me, it's in your head. And I started to think, okay, maybe it is. So maybe I'll do whatever I can to improve my vocals. I'll make sure I speak more in interviews. Do whatever I have to do to better myself because whatever's going on now, it's not good enough. Right. So I need to be better. And then it still wasn't enough. Why do I feel like invisible? Why do I feel like the least favoured, the least desired? Like, I just want to know, like, is that racist or, like, is it in my head?
Oh, it's obviously not. Some people don't realise that they are being racist, and I think that, like, people don't realise that they have, like, racist thoughts or ideas, but, like, they've been conditioned to be like, well, black isn't beautiful, or that person's not really, like, given much to this scenario, so I'm just going to ignore them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's unconscious. And for the most part, it's not intentional, it's just what we've all been taught. Racism is such a horrible word. Nobody wants to think they're racist. And it does take, like, you know, people to kind of, like, look into themselves and just be like, actually, I have thought that, you know.
How do we play our part to change this? Like, sometimes you feel like you can't speak about these things.
It's very British, though. We're taught not to talk about it. It's like it's something, it's such a taboo subject. People are afraid to admit that they've done something that is considered racism, and you may not have meant it, okay? Like, I know there's not all bad in people. I really believe that everyone's got good in them. Like, I remember when my mum used to take me to certain management companies, I won't name them now because they're still friends and that's all good and it's all love. But when I was 15, they told me and said, we've got one black person, we can't have another. And I got that a couple of times. And one thing that's like actually comes to my head right now is being told to bleach my skin.
Oh,
Being told
yeah.
that I'm too dark to be in the industry. I'm going cold talking about it because I really actually don't like talking about it. You need to bleach your skin because you won't sell any records. That's what's so fucked up about this industry, and that's what makes me feel at times where I go, I don't want to be in this industry. You know, they took my confidence away so much that I couldn't be me.
By the way, brown skin girls black girls can sell records.
Yeah.
That's because it's been proven.
Yes.
They're kind of being brainwashed to think, no, this is what works. And she's like, oh, so we're just going to ignore Lauryn Hill or Mary J. Blige, or, oh, we're just going to pretend that whole era didn't happen. No. We're all amazing, different shades. I wasn't planning to say this, but when I was about to exit the group Sugar Babes, I don't know if many people know, but I didn't actually leave. I was replaced while still being like in the band.
Didn't know that.
And I remember being sat down and I was basically told, you know, this person feels bullied, that one there feels bullied, this one. And I was like, I was giving that one a foot massage legit like the day before. You know, if I had an opinion, you know, it was very much like, okay, you're being a bully. And that was the word. That whole situation changed the course of my life. Wow. It affected me emotionally, mentally, financially. I have like confidence issues and just feeling like the whole time, like I couldn't have an opinion in the workplace. And it's taken me years to recover and I'm still in the process with therapy and things like that.
Actually, it's funny because if you see an independent, strong black woman, all of a sudden you are an aggressive woman, you're overconfident and nobody wants to talk to you. And I know so many women within this industry who are writers, producers, go through the same thing.
Do you feel like if I was dark-skinned, I'd be in Little Mix?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're right in the middle of pop music. You are in a as white as it gets environment. Because I visually don't look black, I can hide it. And I've been hiding it. Subconsciously, when people know me now and look up my songs now, I make dance music. But when I signed my record deal, I was an R&B artist. I used to make beats. I used to sing 4-part harmonies. I grew up in church. I was so connected to my black culture and my heritage. And I was so excited to put music out and I was told, no, this isn't gonna work. It's not, there's no place for it. It won't work. You can't do that. You have to embrace the white in you, suppress the black in you. And that's how I felt. It's a tricky thing to even say out loud because I'm grateful for that opportunity. But the fact is, I felt like I didn't have a choice.
Do you know what the tricky thing is as well? You know, to answer your question, yeah, I feel like you definitely, if they were looking for a minority, they were looking for a minority to be in it to sell records because you know what, let's be honest with you, it makes it a little bit more cooler. Do you know what I mean? So I think if you had like a couple of white managers like in a room and they wanted to throw someone of color in, of course, being mixed race, the more you look like a white person is more acceptable, palatable. I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but you were chosen for your blackness.
Do you feel that way?
I'm still kind of like struggling to talk about it in general. Okay. So the fact that it comes down to the token black girl, like you do see it in other girl bands, like it's kind of like a sort of, not a trend, but it's happened so often. I feel like today was like a bit of therapy. Like I think everyone kind of just was so open. The things that Alex had to go through in Keisha, I'm shocked. It makes me think more into the fact that there are so few dark-skinned females right now in the music industry. What is it about dark-skinned women that they don't deem it to be marketable? It really does make me think, like, if I was some shades darker, would I be sat here right now? Like, I don't know. Discrimination against people with darker skin, especially within the same ethnic group, is called colorism. There's a lot of discussion about it within the black community.
Why is it that the lighter you are, the easier it is for you to get a job.
The lighter you are, the more beautiful you are. This is a narrative.
Lighter skinned people are put higher than darker skinned people, period.
Babe, can you feed the dog before you go, please? Andre and I had only been going out for a couple of months when some offensive tweets he'd written years before we met were picked up by the press. He wrote them 8 years ago, and I know now that those tweets were a blatant example of colorism.
I will never know what it feels like to be a dark-skinned woman, but seeing those tweets really made me feel a bit sick. And I was really upset because I was just like, who is this person? Like, this is horrible. Because that wasn't the person that I knew. When they surfaced, my heart sank. So I was just like, that is not the person that I met. It sounds like a child, like a silly child, like.
This is what happens when you're kids and that. You do become a product of your environment. So whatever you are around every day and you're not educated on it or exposed to why it's wrong or whatever, then it kind of sticks.
But still, though, to have those views at that time...
there's no excuse at all. When it all came out and stuff, like, so obviously I was embarrassed, ashamed, disappointed. Same time, I had to be a man about it. I've made that mistake and I've learned and I've educated myself and grew up to understand how offensive and how wrong it was, what I did. I didn't even understand racism really when I was young. We all used to diss each other and whatever. There was never obviously any malice in it, but again, it's not obviously an excuse in it. And being from a Jamaican heritage, it's a tough one. I think it's maybe a bit of self-hate, whatever.
Well, at the time, for yourself?
Nah, I think it was a black thing. I think it happens now, still in Jamaica. People don't want to be dark-skinned in Jamaica a lot of the time. There's a lot of bleaching and whatever going on, and it's not cool to be. It's cool to be lighter. You pick up on these things as well. You know what I mean? Maybe it was easy for a light-skinned person like myself to joke about it.
Because it's like, how would you feel if someone said that about, I don't know, like your cousin, your auntie, or like, I don't know, we could have a child and it come out darker than us. Like, you just don't know, do you? Like, that sort of view on dark-skinned women especially, there is a lot of anger and there is a lot of, I'd say trauma. Because those views that you might have had back then, like, adds to the way that dark-skinned women are viewed. This whole thing about light-skinned girls being prettier or whatever. It's almost like people probably are being conditioned to think that, because you're seeing it everywhere. You're hearing it in music. You're seeing it in magazines. Don't you feel there's something in that? The more you see something, the more you hear something, that's just what you know and what you think. And dark-skinned people are just not represented enough. I feel like at every point, I'm just noticing so much more now. The other week when I went in for work, 2 days in a row, I was doing shoots and I walked in and there wasn't one person of colour working on the team. And I'm just like, I would never have noticed that before, but it baffled me. Because it's not right. It shouldn't be predominantly white when the music industry is fueled by hip-hop and R&B. I'm not where I am today to do nothing about this.
Well, we're joined now by Little Mix's Leanne Pinnock.
This is the first time in my life that the whole world is speaking about racism. We need to talk about it, and there needs to be a change because we can't go on like this anymore.
Treat this as a conversation.
Say that back in the day. You cannot say that now. What makes a black person?
Exactly.
Like, how do you act black?
Hi, Leanne. Thanks for taking the time. I know it's late over in the UK, so...
That's all right. The industry needs to be more diverse because I don't see enough people that look like me.
Since I've started speaking out, my fans have been amazing. But not everyone has been quite so supportive.
What about Little Mix? All jumping on your little virtue signalling bandwagon. Bullshit!
Especially since news of the documentary hit the press.
Just wanting to show yourself with a little BLM sign.
Social media is so toxic. Like, it does my head in.
There's already two types of criticism.
I see that this woman who has made millions from dancing in her pants wants to jump on the victim bandwagon. This is obviously going to be some people's reaction because they do not want to understand racism. They don't care about racism. They never have and they never will. And that is one type of person. I'm not doing it for people like that because I'm never going to change them. I'm not going to change her mindset. She's made up already. But then there's also a lot of criticism about me being light-skinned from the black community, and that hurts more. Why not a full black person confused? Maybe should have used someone who isn't partly idolised because she's light-skinned. I don't know, just a thought. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to read. Wanting to do something good and then seeing or like hearing that there's been a massive uproar because I'm not actually fully black, and it's like you start thinking, like, am I the right person for this? Like, are my experiences just not valid? Like, just because I'm a bit lighter? It's just fucking heavy, man. I've not dealt with these kind of comments before. They're much more personal than I'm used to. And it's really knocked me. Now I'm questioning, am I the right person to make this film? However, what I've experienced is nothing compared to what some black people in the public eye have to deal with. Like MP Dawn Butler.
Will the minister inform the House whether her government is institutionally racist or just doesn't care?
She suffered horrendous abuse as a result of standing up for non-white people in the UK. She's got in touch and I'm meeting her in a local cafe in her Brent constituency.
Cup of tea?
Cute. Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
One, actually. We go into your offices at all today?
No, this is actually where I'm probably going to have some surgeries because I've had to close my office because of the racism.
Really? Wow.
So, I know. I was getting calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, abusive answer phone messages. I was attacked on the train. That was horrific. And one day I turned up and my staff had bought themselves a stab vest.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's so mad. Like, obviously being in the pop industry and like opening myself up to scrutiny, like social media, trolls, whatever, the level that you face is like, how do you deal with that?
I know. So first of all, I want to say well done. Like, well done for actually speaking out and deciding that you're not going to keep quiet. You know, you've used your platform and your privilege to do that. Yeah. Some people take their privilege and run away with it and never look back. But how do you cope? It depends on the day, right? Like some days you just want to cuss really hard. And then some days you think, right, okay, I'm going to educate you in terms of what you're doing. People are just blatant racist. If they had something to offer, they wouldn't want to try and take you down.
Yeah.
Or try and criticise you.
I just feel like I've kind of, like my heart is on the line now and there's no going back, and it's like, I'm almost scared.
Don't get me wrong, it is scary, but you just got to remember all the lives that you're changing. You've got to remember all the young women that are looking up to you thinking, oh my God, she's spoken out. So everyone needs to sort of ask themselves, when the history book's written, what's going to be said beside your name?
Yeah.
Divine intervention. Jehovah walked on water, grandma raised us up a pension. Mama worked.
I can't believe what Dawn's been through. She's reminded me how serious things can get for people in the spotlight, but totally inspired me to carry on. No matter what happens, I'm gonna keep speaking out.
So I'm on my way to go and meet the lovely ladies that I met at the march.
So
So why are you girls here today?
They were so interesting. We had such a good conversation. And little did I know they actually have their own podcast called The Trilly Trio.
Today, the girls have invited me to be a guest on their podcast.
I feel a bit lightheaded. Don't know why.
They talked about how important it is for me to educate myself. I just hope what I've learnt so far will show them I'm really serious about inspiring change.
So to touch on quite a sensitive topic as well, is like colorism. Black women, dark-skinned women, if I'm being brutally honest, are not seen as physically attractive.
You're pretty for a black girl.
Yeah.
Like, or you're not as loud. Supposed to mean?
There's so much pressure, and I feel it as a lighter-skinned woman, so I can't even imagine how it feels for you girls. Like,
to be honest, the only person of my tone that I've seen on screen in the UK is Alexander Burke. And that's pretty much it. If I'm being honest.
It's true. I couldn't name you one dark-skinned, really successful artist in the UK. A female artist in the UK right now. There isn't.
What do you feel like you can do to encourage girls like me to keep trying to get our way in the industry?
I would say just don't let your colour hold you back. Like, you might not see many girls look like you right now, but whatever you do, like, you can't. You have to just keep going. You have to believe, and you have to just go for it.
I don't know. These conversations are so hard to have because it's like a back and forth for moving forward. But at the same time, how are we moving forward if nothing has actually physically changed? Because I haven't seen really much of change in any legislation. I haven't really seen any change in like workplaces. All I've really seen realistically is a lot of conversations.
Yeah, like lots of brands, it's like they'll start reposting the black squares. They were saying Black Lives Matter.
That was the easy way
but
out.
The real question is, how much does it matter? How many black people do you have in senior positions within your organisation, you know?
It really is the guys at the top that I'm onto. It's never the people who, like yourself, you do have a platform, of course, but you are also controlled to an extent on what you can do. So do you feel, sorry to put you on the spot, do you feel now you might have the confidence to have a conversation with those who are part of your record label? What's management really doing to emphasise that Black Lives Matter and we've got these issues?
Yeah. So our label kind of helped us post Black Lives Matter charities and like ways that people can get involved. But I mean, that was when the movement was a bit
current.
more. Yeah.
Got you.
So I feel like people could definitely do more.
Do you see much job roles for people that look like yourself?
No.
Period.
At least you're straight up and honest about it. 'Cause
I walk into work and there's no black people. And that has been that way for my whole career. Like, I just haven't noticed it because it's my normal.
Yeah.
Hearing Aries speak got me thinking. I'm like, well, you're so right. Like, I do have the power to demand change from the people that work with me. So I feel like what I might do is maybe send like an email to everyone and see if we can kind of have a meeting and talk about how we can move forward with this and see if there's anything that we can do to make some sort of a change here.
I'm reaching out to my own management team, but I also want to see what the people right at the top of my label are doing.
I didn't really know who to approach at the label to sort of get into this conversation about diversity with. But yeah, so you've got the head of Sony Music who I could potentially try and have a meet with. Let them hear my thoughts and feelings firsthand. Because I know for a fact, like, if there was more people that look like me on my team, I would not have felt more as alone. Like, instead of thinking this was all in my head, like, maybe I would have been speaking to people that actually understood it. Like, my label have always had my back, so I feel like they'll be happy to try and find some sort of a solution for this. Right.
Tonight, us girls are getting together online for a songwriting session.
So I'm just going to have a little dash of wine, a bit of Dutch courage before the Zoom session. Don't tell anyone. Right. okay? You okay? This is weird, man. How many months has it been?
Because of lockdown, this is the longest we've ever gone without seeing each other. I miss them.
What about something like something, but I'll try to forget?
Thanks to you, I'm wearing bulletproof vest, but I'm okay.
I love that.
We did it!
Yeah, that's nice.
Should I write it out? Thanks to you, I'm wearing bulletproof vest.
I've had a response from the record label, but it wasn't quite what I expected. I wanted to meet with the head of Sony Music. Instead, they've put forward a director of marketing who happens to be another black woman, someone I've never met before.
It is almost like, okay, well, let's put two black women in a room or two black people in a room to solve the issue of racism. I feel like a lot of people are very scared about saying the wrong thing, but for me, I just think it was really important for me to speak to somebody at the top of the label to make sure that there's actually change happening and to make sure that something is going to be enforced. But also, like, I have to respect that being on camera and, like, some people are scared to slip up and to say the wrong thing. And I think because, like, this is very new, isn't it? This is very sensitive, but I'm so sick of people seeing it as, ooh, can't say that, better not say that. Like, come on, let's just do it. There's a problem, let's address it. Let's all address it together. Well, that's me, dropped from the label. I do feel like I've hit a bit of a wall just because this is something that's so important. So important. You gotta take action. I wanted people to see people making change.
I'm going to push back with the label to make sure I meet with more of the right people. When I do get to meet with our record label, I want one of the girls there with me to show how important this is to all of us.
Oh, darling, come here. Are you okay?
Jade is my absolute rock. And after nearly a decade in the band together, I think of her more like a sister.
Oh, it's nice up here.
Yeah, it's lovely. I've already started on the porn star martini.
Edamame beans. Huge. It's so mad how much can happen within like the space of, well, like 6 months. Like,
This year.
it's just been mad.
It's like one thing after the other, isn't it?
Honestly, our whole Little Mix life, you're so in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We have been in a bubble, I think.
Massively.
And now that's kind of like burst.
Oh my God, yeah. And interestingly, it's not until this whole BLM movement's happened, because, you know, like, my mum's dark-skinned.
Yeah.
I'm also on my own journey of sort of accepting myself, because my granddad, for me, he was Arab and Muslim. He was from Yemen. My grandma was from Egypt. And it was only my granddad, really, who was so proud to be Arab and Yemeni, and he would cook Yemeni food, and I used to go to Muslim school on the weekends because he wanted me to learn Arabic. You know, I was 30 when my granddad died, and I feel like when he passed away, that just sort of just evaporated, really.
Wow. I've never really heard you speak about this.
No.
Why did you feel like you had to kind of shy away a little bit? Like,
I think growing up in a small town up north, and I was always seen as like the token darkie, which was the expression that was always used to describe us. I remember I went to school. I used to get pinned in the toilets. I'd have like bleach powder thrown on us. I'd have like bindi marks again, which is so ridiculous because one, I'm Arab, so what are you putting a bindi on his forehead? Do you know what I mean? And then at 18, got put in the group, moved to London, and all of a sudden I became white passing. A couple of people said it to us, and I was like, "What does white passing mean?" When you look white, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'd never been told that
Because
before.
you hadn't come from like
no,
from that, because you
not
were
at
the only
all.
one really of colour. Yeah.
You know, I came to London, you know, at 18 years old. I'd never been really taught much about racism or white privilege or light skin privilege. But I knew that being white meant you had an easier ride. I thought, if you see me as white, I'm not going to stand up and, you know, scream in your face that I'm not, because I know that there's privilege that comes with that. But I do feel quite guilty that I spent so long not talking about it.
Yeah. Basically, our whole Little Mix life was about fitting in.
Yeah.
And trying to just fit into this perfect pop world.
Yeah, and I remember for ages we both wanted nose jobs, which is actually is insane now.
No, please.
It's so ridiculous.
Nah, don't.
But that stemmed from our first ever magazine shoot, like photo shoot, and there I was with my whole face like completely photoshopped. My nose had changed. And from that moment I thought, oh my God, like to be beautiful and glamorous, you know, you have to uphold this image of basically looking as white as possible.
Definitely.
You know?
When you really think about it, like, other than you and Sam and our dancers, like, there hasn't really been anyone behind the scenes to sort of relate to.
Yeah, you're right. There's not enough diversity on the team.
I think it's just about having that conversation, start it up like a meeting with our team and just making them know that this is a problem.
Yeah. Because I think as well, in the pop industry, people do not want to hear young women, especially young women of colour, talking about social issues. And I think a lot of that is out of fear, because they know the influence that we have on our young fan base.
Yeah.
Like, we
so true.
are powerful. And I think for years we were taught that our opinion didn't matter.
Yeah.
When in reality, I do actually feel like that was out of fear of knowing the influence that we can have on young people.
Yeah.
So what, you want to do a meeting?
Yeah. Would you come to the meeting with me?
Yes, I'd love to. You know, I'm always here to support you and be a part of it. And I can't stress it enough. I am so proud of you.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
Like, so much.
And I'm always here.
When we're not away on tour, my whole family get together nearly every week for Sunday lunch.
Hello.
Hello, sister.
Cara, come. God, oh, hello.
You're right.
Yes, good. How are you, Sean? I like that shirt.
Thank you.
Me and my sisters, Sarah and Sian, are really close and have been super supportive to each other, especially this summer.
Oh my gosh. Sarah, are you feeding like, a whole country with that?
Well, this will be leftovers.
Whole Jamaica.
Hi, Dad.
Hi.
Every time we come and cook on a Sunday, Leanne's hungover and we end up doing everything and she just sits there, does nothing.
Other than one.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I wish I had some drugs.
I was saying, when I'm like this, fragile, I feel like I just want to cuddle.
Oh. There you go.
God, Mum's so cold, isn't she? Jeez.
Literally.
No sympathy, self-inflicted.
No! That picture is the worst. Wait, let me see it. Yeah, that's a bad one, but it's not the worst one.
My nieces and nephews motivate me even more to fight for a better world for the next generation. But it's definitely not proven to be easy.
Sarah, the label have come back and said they don't want to have a meeting with me and Jade because they don't want to be on camera.
Why do they commit to it then?
But this is the thing.
What kind of nonsense? An establishment of that size should be able to have someone that could have come forward to be filmed in order for it to go ahead. But they're choosing to not send anybody.
It's frustrating because it's not about like catching anyone out. I wanted people to see my label leading by example and like actually having these conversations like on screen. That's why I'm doing this. It's frustrating, I think. It's just really frustrating. It's like, I could really do something to make a change.
Don't even let it like defeat you.
I am disappointed because I really wanted to show people
that we are standing shoulder to shoulder with this.
but I still will be following up and I will be having this conversation.
Hello?
I've managed to get 3 people from my label to speak to me on the phone.
But do we have that figure, like, for the whole of Sony? You were saying, oh, like, it is diverse, but it's nowhere near what it should be. At all, anywhere where it should be.
They've told me about the work they've done to increase black representation at the company, like paid internships and donating $100 million globally to tackle discrimination and equal rights. What I really want to ask them about is our team at the label that Little Mix work with.
Like, even like coming into like meetings or like doing shoots and things like that, it is always predominantly white, always, without question. For the last 10 years, I do feel like I was so conditioned to it for so many years, but the past couple of months, I'm like, this is not right. And it clicks so much more now and makes me feel uncomfortable because I just don't understand why that's the way it is. It shouldn't be like that. So,
however we agree to work together moving forward, I know that I have the backing of the band.
yeah. Well, I just know for a fact that they are 100% behind me. Like, our music is inspired by black culture. So, like, why wouldn't we? Like, I don't want the next girl in pop to come up and ever feel like how I felt. Bye! Thank you, bye. They've really listened to everything I've said, and they've said that they're gonna start putting forward more black creators for us to work with. Black creative companies, black photographers, black videographers. A lot of the time, like when you have these conversations, like sometimes things don't always get followed through. But one thing I do know is that I'm gonna keep pushing. Like, it's not a question anymore, like it has to happen. And when I set my mind to something,
You can't turn away from it anymore.
and I feel like there are so many other aspects to my world that I now need to address. The problem doesn't just lay within my label, it's management, glam teams, touring. There is a lot of work to be done. A couple of years from now, like, I want to be able to walk into work, regardless of what I'm doing, and see people of colour. I don't want it to just be a black square. I don't want it to just be, oh yeah, we'll think about it and we'll try. You can't just keep ignoring this flipping issue. This is just the beginning. I'm a fighter, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Searching every corner of my mind, looking for the answers I can't find. I have my reasons and life has its lessons.
Just calling you to see if there's any way that you could get involved with either donating or...
Whatever you need me to do.
Bless you. Do you know what? This is making me feel so good. Like, there's so many people that just want to be involved and, like, help. This is really exciting.
Aiming in Jesus' name, oh yes, I claim it. Any little bread that I make, I have to break it. Brothers wanna break me down, I can't take it. I done a scholarship for the kids, they said it's racist. That's not anti-white, it's pro-black. Hang me out to dry, I won't crack. All these fancy ties and gold plaques. Never had no silver spoons in our mouths, we sold like